Okay, welcome back or welcome for the first time. Um, so this is specific task quotes 105. Quotes fall under specific task because to get these questions right, it's really all about knowing what the quote must support. And that will be made very clear. So as long as you identify what the quote must support, you'll have the question correct every time. So it's really kind of specific task in that you have to really kind of narrow in on what is required. I'll show you exactly what I mean. And you only get a couple of these a test. So it's good to have just good technique and make sure you get them right. Maybe 2 out of 54 questions. But anyway, so an example would be, I'll give you a better one than that one. Okay. So if we look at this example here, it says, in A Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger, or actually, we should always read the question first. I apologize. Which quotation from Catcher in the Rye most effectively illustrates the claim? This is how quote questions work. They ask what best illustrates the claim. Whenever you use a quote, you're going to make a claim before the quote, and then the quote is just going to support the claim. The example I had above is here it is. So if my claim is Lou does not believe in Santa Claus, if that's what I say right before the quote, and those who've watched the worksheets on colons know that when you see a colon, whatever comes next further clarifies this independent clause or claim to the left. But anyway, what we should read is we should read something that tells us exactly about Lou not believing in Santa Claus. So that jolly bearded man does not exist beyond the space between our two ears. He's a concoction of our minds, Lou expressed with such certainty. So very clear quote showing that Lou is not a believer. Anyway, now let's go back to this example I had. So this Catcher in the Rye one. So, which quotation from Catcher in the Rye most effectively illustrates the claim? So, again, specific task. We want to figure out exactly what the claim is. So, we're going to read, but we're going to really pay attention to the sentence that leads up to the quote. So, in A Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger delivers a first person narrative in which the protagonist, Holden Caulfield, details the downward spiral of events that eventually lead him to seek help. Okay. Salinger depicts Caulfield as a compassionate, though troubled teenager. So, what we're setting up here before the quote is a quote that shows that Caulfield is both compassionate and troubled at the same time. The quote must support all of the claim. So let's look at A. Hey, I said, I being Caulfield, don't tell her I got kicked out of school, will ya? So that may show troubled, the fact that he's getting kicked out of school, but I don't see any compassion there. I told them my name was Jim Steele, just for the hell of it. So that shows Caulfield as a liar, so maybe troubled, but no compassion there. Listen, I bought you a record, I told her. Caulfield's talking to his little sister. Only I broke it on the way home. I took the pieces out of my coat pocket and showed her. I was plastered. All right. So on this one, what you can see is you can see that one, he cares enough about his little sister to buy her record. Two, even though he broke it, he still wants to give it to her because he feels kind of like the gift has sentiment and value to him beyond just being a gift. It has meaning. So he feels like even sharing the pieces of this record, uh, is him kind of showing his love for his sister. That said, why did he break it? Well, because he was too drunk. So right there we have compassionate and troubled. We look at D, it was one of the worst schools I ever went to. It was full of phonies and mean guys. You never saw so many mean guys in your life. So maybe troubled in that he doesn't like the school and doesn't like the people at the school, maybe, but I would say a stretch for troubled and definitely no compassion there. So again, on these quote questions, make sure you identify exactly what the claim is and that you find the answer both has stated and implied support for all of the claim. So let's do one together right now. So Which quotation from Mr. Cornelius Johnson, office seeker, most effectively illustrates the claim? So let's see what the claim is. Mr. Cornelius Johnson, office seeker, is a 1900 short story by Paul Laurence Dunbar. In the story, the narrator describes Mr. Cornelius Johnson's appearance as conveying his exaggerated sense of his importance. Okay, so again, the claim is right before the blank. It's set up with a colon there, so this has to further support the claim. And we must show that the man's appearance conveys his exaggerated sense of self-importance. So one, it needs to have to do with the way he dresses or looks. Two, the way he dresses or looks has to support the fact that he thinks a lot of himself, that he's conceited. He carried himself always as if he were passing under his own triumphal arc. Okay, so that one feels pretty good. I don't know if I love this appearance part, but it definitely gives an exaggerated sense of self-importance. So we'll keep A as an option for now. The gray Prince Albert was scrupulously buttoned about his form, and a shiny top hat replaced the felt on the afternoon. So this is definitely appearance. Scrupulously means with the utmost attention to detail, but I don't see any self-importance there, so we can get rid of B. Mr. Cornelius Johnson always spoke in a large and important tone. So the way he speaks carries kind of a sense of importance, but I don't know if that's necessarily self-importance. And on top of that, nothing with appearance there. D. It was a beautiful day in balmy May, and the sun shone pleasantly on Mr. Cornelius Johnson's very spruce Prince Albert suit of gray as he alighted from the train in Washington. Okay, so this is definitely the man's appearance. But again, I don't get any self importance there. And if we look at this and we really pin down what the claim is, his appearance has to convey exaggerated sense of his own self-importance. So we get appearance from B and D, but we don't get self-importance. We maybe get a little of self-importance from C, but nothing on appearance. He carried himself always as if he were passing under his own triumphal arc. So his own triumphal arc means he's self-celebratory. So he thinks a lot of himself. So that's definitely self-importance. I guess carrying himself, so the way he kind of walks and acts and his mannerisms and dress, that can support his appearance. So the way you carry yourself is the way you make sure you appear to others. Okay. So in that case, we can support A with the A has the support for the claim that we need. Okay. Anyway, good luck on these quote questions. That's your technique. Always make sure that the quote completely supports the claim.